What is the Dunning-Kruger effect? People with lower abilities are more confident and can express their appearance, remarks and actions. Cognitive bias that causes the illusion of superiority that makes self-evaluation higher than it actually is. It is called Dunning-Kruger effect. The ancient literature also shows the past that has caused the illusion of superiority. Various studies have demonstrated the Dunning-Kruger effect. Due to the Dunning-Kruger effect, one of the characteristics of a person with low ability but overconfidence. People with low abilities cannot understand how low their abilities are because of their low abilities. People with low abilities cannot understand the skills of others correctly. People with low abilities tend to overestimate themselves. That has been speculated by numerous investigations. Here, everyone. When you hear this story, do you put yourself on the shelf saying, "Sure, there are people who come to mind"? This is also one of the Dunning-Kruger effects. Over 70% say their abilities are above average. So, many people have this Dunning-Kruger effect. Even though it's a sport I've just learned, a musical instrument I've just learned, have you ever shown off to your family and friends in good condition? Have you ever talked about these like a master or a veteran? Many of you, I think you're experiencing an unfounded overconfidence for some more part of your life. In short, many have something to do with this Dunning-Kruger effect. This Dunning-Kruger effect study has also been tested in highly capable people. There is a tendency to underestimate one's test ranking slightly lower than it actually is. People with low abilities overestimate their test rankings. Excellent people cannot abandon the subjectivity that what you can do can be done by others. In addition, to make an upward comparison that compares oneself with a person who is even better than oneself, tend to try to catch up. In the case of a person who is not excellent, he will make a downward comparison to compare with a person who is not even better than himself, so he feels relieved and neglects his efforts. And in recent tests through electroencephalography, evidence was found that this phenomenon is associated with the cognitive ability of memory. Perform word memory test while measuring brain waves. The research group conducted a word memorization test to confirm the student's memory and self-confidence. 1. First, show 61 university students a word and ask them to answer whether it is an artificial object or a living thing. 2. Next, ask them to wear electrodes on their heads, show them the words, and ask them to answer whether the words came out in the previous session, and measure the brain waves at this time. The point in this experiment is how confident you are in your answer. I was asked to answer how well my grades were compared to other subjects. And it became clear that the Dunning-Kruger effect is related to the cognitive ability of memory. The experimental results are as shown in past studies. The group with the worst grades overestimated their grades, while the group with the best grades underestimated their grades. In addition, when we analyzed the reaction time to answer, it was found that those who overestimate or underestimate their own grades tend to judge their self-evaluation earlier. In addition, data revealed that those who overestimate or underestimate themselves depend on or are affected by different processes of memory. Especially those who overestimate themselves are not part of the memory of the brain. He said he showed a pattern of brain activity that indicates that he relies on intuition. From the results of this study, the view is that it leads to one of the reasons why there are so many people who are incapable of teaching. Even if you are very good, you wouldn't dare to take the position of a leader unless you are confident in yourself. On the other hand, those who are confident even if they do not have the ability will call themselves without being afraid. Therefore, the number of incompetent leaders will increase. This summary. Those with low ability. In spite of this memory experiment, I didn't even remember the comparison with myself, let alone the memory of the comparison with the other party. I found that I intuitively overestimated myself. In other words, there is no basis. Many of these psychological experiments are centered around college students. Therefore, emotional reactions tend to be straightforward. Overall, it is average to above average abilities. I still get the result of such a remarkable Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a college student, and if you know the results and train. Research results have shown that you can notice the lack of power and skills up to that point and reflect on yourself. In other words, those who think they are incapable are only immature at this point. There is plenty of room for growth. But what about the general public? You don't always have above average abilities like college students, right? In many cases, the results are easy to understand and are not quantified. There are some people who are obviously too weak to be objective, right? In the real world, they wouldn't have a lot of voice and would rarely be involved. What about social media? If a person full of himself arranges a large number of lines, won't you believe in the other person? It has no basis. What if the speaker doesn't even know the meaning of the word and uses a large number of words? You can't see it right away, right?
はい、バレッジです。これまでの歴史でも経営者の能力が低いが部下に恵まれたというものも多かったでしょうし、近年で有名なのがスティーブ・ジョブズで、仕事に関係する能力はほとんどなく、創業者なのに一度はアップルをクビになっています。ですが、人をその気にさせて動かす能力はありましたので、ということです。部下の者はかなり大変だったと聞いていますが、ですから能力の低い経営者や上司が一概に悪いというわけではありません。また能力が低く自信だけで出世していくのも限界がありますので、現実社会では上に行くほど能力の低いものは減っていくはずです。それでも能力の低い上司に当たってしまったら大変ですよね。そんな時は嫌な上司であろうと、あなたが自分の仕事に集中して取り組めればそれで満足なのか、あなたは少し不平不満を言ってればそれで満足なのか、それを考えてみてください。能力が高いということは内面が豊かであり、意外とそれで満足な場合もあります。ですがこのままではいけないと思うのでしたら、自信のある態度や振る舞いを披露してください。その場合、実際にあなたが自信があるかどうかは重要ではありません。それではまた。